said, "Screw it! I don't care. I'm just as a." You can even see it on some of the comments below this post that we just read. That many of them kind of have this mentality, that it is going to be all or nothing. Either this is going to skywire or haywire. It's like either or, and it's a crazy high risk mentality. High risk, high reward, sure, but high stress is also included in this um, prize that you want to win,
Mhm.
which you don't even know that you're going to win. And then you end up like this, 5 years, 10 years later, as he said, time still goes by. You exchanging a valuta, a currency, time that you don't know how much you have time of left for something that you don't even know that you're going to get. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think that Brandon is
Yeah, I think
disconnected.
he'll be back though. Um,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be bad. In what you say, Daniel, I partially agree because I would like to kind of like, I feel like, regardless of the uncertainty of the outcome, because sometimes the outcome can be certain and sometimes can be uncertain, right? Because burnout, I mean, in this case with crypto, is it could be more or less certain or uncertain. It depends of the level of knowledge you have in the area. Yeah, the author is complaining not only about the extreme energy and time he put during these 5 years, and also he's complaining about the fact that he feels uncertain about the outcome. But in many cases, many people might not feel uncertain about the outcome and still feel burnout, right? How do we manage that, right? Because some people might say, okay, if I am not sure about the outcome, then it's not worth it. So I'm moving on. But what if it's worth it? How do we manage work-life balance? Because the problem is not in reality the thing. The problem is us, the how our management, right, of the situation.
right.
And
But that's,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, the
No, no,
management of the
just finish.
situation on one hand that caused the situation. I think you were talking right now about prevention, like how not to get to that, right? Which is like,
No, yeah, it's a combination, but it's also to give an insight, like what I hear from
yeah,
clients, and also sort of been to some degree my own experience, that there
yeah,
is definitely something to it. And the crypto space, it's a little bit a thing of its own as well in that regard. Like he kind of addressed it as well, like he said, like there's no mofo sit in a Telegram group and talks about the Apple stocks day and night and get emotional about this and that. It's solely a crypto
exactly. Like it's
phenomenon.
not going to change the
And
outcome, even if the outcome is fantastic. It's not going to change it. Been talking hours and hours
but
about the
I feel
same.
like what's it called? The guy who has the channel, crypto dollar DCC or DC dollar cost crypto. Yeah, I think that's the channel. I think he said it pretty good. Like crypto is like a crazy thing. It's sort of like a cult and a football game and a religion all in one. What?
Big combo, what you just mentioned. Yeah.
I think Brandon wanted. Did you try to say
No,
something?
no, I was agreeing with you.
Okay,
Yeah, it
okay.
is. It is crypto space is very
It's a
unique.
crazy place.
It is,
Yeah.
and like kind of what he's alluding to is maybe, and I think this probably has to do. It pertains more to Pulse Chain and degenerate areas like Pulse Chain, where there's meme coins and just absolute craziness. Like if you're just you know Bitcoin, right? Like okay, or stable coins. I mean, it's not as crazy, but like in this, like in our little corner here of crypto, it feeds on feeding us dopamine. That's what I'm saying. It feeds us
And
dopamine
FOMO.
and like that's what gets a lot of people, I think, like Greek God addicted. And what keeps us going too is it's fun and we want the dopamine hit, and like there's entertainment. You can't deny that. Um, so the problem is that, like, the burnout or anything you're addicted to is that it wears off, and the pursuit can become all about dopamine hits, which in the end it does feel empty. And I think he said something about that in his post. It definitely
Right.
feels very empty.
And
Because
again, then it doesn't
there's
help that you
no,
pause your life. Yeah, go on.
yeah, there's just right. You're pausing your life, but like you're not really connecting to something bigger in life. I think that's something that we all need to, like, help people. We all need to be connected to something larger than us in life for true meaning, you know. Like if you ever read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning book, I'm sure
Mm.
you guys maybe have read that, but
Beautiful.
he got him through was he was helping people in the concentration camps. I mean, he wasn't doing very well, but he focused on helping other people and ended up being one of the few that survived. And that's what he found, is the ones that were focused on providing meaning and helping, they did the best. They made it through. And I think that's what can go missing in the endless stimulation and dopamine hits in crypto. Is just losing sight of that, and just the dopamine hit becomes like the meaning of our lives. Um and I just think that's in the end, it's just a short-sighted perspective, and we end up feeling a hole, feeling a loss. um Also too, I was reading, in reading the post, like there's a certain sense of um like he's a little passive in life, in his participation in life. Like he talks about life happening to him and nothing ever happens, like the specific things in life. Um and I think with that kind of mindset, that you're waiting for things outside of you to occur, um then there's only going to be very few times in life where you feel either happiness, euphoria, something good, dopamine, because um, those things don't just come when you want them to. That's not how life works. You know, you can't passively wait for things to happen. You have to be more active in creating the life that you want, that gives you meaning, that's going to be deeper than just the pursuit of money. But you have to be actively engaged in creating that. You can't just wait for it to come to you. Otherwise, life will pass you by. And I can sense that he has a lot of regret um in looking back, and wishing that he did do it differently. And I hope that that's changing for him. Because that's my encouragement, if not, is to be more active in like trying to make things happen, creating the life that you want. Now you don't always get it even then, but in the creation of it, in the pursuit of it, in that way, um you feel more alive, I think, on the journey of life. And there's a much better chance that you're going to be feeling fulfilled and at peace with yourself. um let's see here.
But that's also what I meant about, like, you kind of, when you put your life on pause, on holds, and you kind of let yourself being this sort of like mentally prison, take yourself as a hostage of like, I can't
Yeah.
continue before this thing has 100x or whatever, and you
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
nothing else. You are taking your own control away. You're putting control in something that you have very little effect over. And
Mhm.
if you have nothing going on in your life beside this, it gets
Yeah.
very empty, of
Yeah.
course, as the years go by. It's
Yeah.
inevitable. But you can take it slowly back,
Mhm.
start to make a gratitude practice. For example, every evening I do this in
Yeah.
order to make the exercise fresh. It has to be from that day,
Mhm.
3 to 5 things that I generally enjoyed and was grateful for
Yeah.
that day.
Well, now that you've said that, Daniel,
Yeah, go
I
on.
am going to um I'm going to spotlight our good friend A Wild SJ here because she had a post yesterday that I noticed that I think pertains to exactly what you're saying here. And here it is. Can you guys see that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make it a habit to talk about blessings more than burdens. When you spread positivity, as the positivity princess does, the universe blesses you with even more blessings. Close the window that triggers you, no matter how captivating it is. Dopamine hit, right? And be disciplined about what you entertain. Where focus goes, energy flows. I think that goes very well with what you're saying, Daniel. Focusing
Yeah,
on
that, and
blessings.
then also from a Danish doctor, Bo Netterström, I remember I read that he said that it's also in my book. If you think about the next day's worries and problems, you actually cut your deep sleep in half.
Mhm.
So it's an advantage to think about the good things that will happen when you go to sleep.
Oh, that's lovely. I love
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes so much sense that you would sleep better and be at peace when you're
Yeah.
focused on what did happen and how things have worked and
Yeah.
not just on the things that didn't happen, that we didn't get, that didn't work.
I like
I
that.
mean,
Who
it's
said
like
that,
so
Daniel?
much common sense. What's that?
Sorry, I like that. Where did you read that, Daniel? About like
Oh,
focusing on
this
the
just happened
good
to
things.
be, oh, okay. She says, "Yeah, I stole that from an IG post. It's so true. It is very true." So, a wild SJ, she posted that.
But I like
Yeah.
it because we're usually focusing the morning rituals, like the morning journaling of gratitude. But what
Mhm.
Daniel is mentioning, Joyful Daniel is mentioning, is like also focus, specifically also focus about that before going to sleep, because it's gonna it's gonna prevent you from
Yeah.
having a bad sleep. Let's put it in that way. So, and that
Yeah.
actually is correlated to biological functions, because we should have our heart rate lower before going to sleep to have a restful night, right? Like an appropriate sleep preparation for the next day. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's important to think of a life
Yeah.
balance where we do morning rituals, gratitude rituals. So we start off with the right food, but also focusing in what did go right during the night, during the
Mhm.
day before going to sleep. So I love that. I love that. I didn't
Yeah.
think about it before, but it's
Ri
fantastic.
yeah, rituals, calming teas, benzos, whatever it is helps
Yeah.
you that helps you get there.
The avances
Um,
short term. Like yeah,
yeah, sure, yeah,
I did some research in regards to like burnout and possible treatments.
yeah.
And yes, there are like medications, there are supplementations, there are like different techniques that address like the
Mhm.
different areas of the brain and the body that were affected during burnout.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little more complex than
Mhm.
just the morning and the night gratitude, like focusing in the cup
Yeah.
half full.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to notice these things and to be aware of this, so we don't get discouraged. Like, oh well, today I thought positively in a positive manner the entire day, and I still don't feel well. I don't feel like before the burnout. Why? What's happening? What I don't know. I met with my friends the entire week, and I'm still not feeling like I don't feel recovered. Well, it takes some time, because how we were talking. It's psychology. It's basically biology. Like, we feel demotivated because our dopamine is low, our cortisol is high, we have like chronic inflammation. Burnout is not a situation that is acute, it's chronic. Once it's installed in the body, it means it's because it already happened a long enough time to the body to address it like chronic inflammation. So it's gonna take some time to leave that situation, that condition. But we have to address it to reach a positive outcome, and like also prevent it for the future, right? So basically, when we're in a burnout, we have like a state of chronic inflammation in the entire body, and distress, special distress in the brain. So what we need to do is address it like thinking in like, okay, I need to increase my serotonin, I need to increase my dopamine, but not in hits, more like in a baseline level. And I need to decrease cortisol, and especially the part of decreasing cortisol, that takes time. So we need to be persistent in our work-life balance. And in the moment that you're like aware of that you have burnout, yes, you need to like focus in maybe more than ever, maybe taking a break and addressing this with a professional that helps you to set goals, and like following the steps you need to follow to successfully heal from the burnout and continue with your life path. So don't feel discouraged. Seek for professional help, like someone that can support you in this particular time, and learn from it.
You guys know that guy Eckhart Tolle?
Yeah,
he's a writer, right?
He's an author, speaker, and I like the way he defines stress. He says stress is wanting something to be the way that it isn't. And if you think about stress, and like your cortisol levels go up when you're stressed out, and I think what happens is you end up your baseline level of functioning becomes at a high level of cortisol, a high level of stress, right? And when you're obsessed with like your crypto portfolio and how the market's doing, you are maintaining, I think a lot of times you're maintaining that high level of stress, that high level of cortisol. And then what happens is you do that for so long, and it's so exhausting, it's so tiring, your body decides to just shut down. And he even says in the post, like, I feel nothing now. Like, nothing matters, nothing changes. Well, I think part of it's because when you have that stress where you want your crypto bags to be the way that they aren't right now, and eventually your body tells you to fuck off and says, look, I can't keep handling this stress. Now I'm just going to shut down, deal with it. And in a lot of ways, we become out of control as to regulating our own energy and emotions, because we burnt the candle at both ends with the stress, and our body's just like, no, that's it. You're gonna take a time out now, whether you like it or not, and you're not gonna feel anything for a while.
Yes, burnout can be considered kind of like a physical disease. Like sometimes we cannot stop ourselves from a certain activity due to our personalities. Maybe we're like very obsessive, or like we have like this high success personality. Many times the body stops us, like we get sick, like we get like a flu or something, and we are forced to be like a week in bed and rest. It will be better if we don't get to that instance, right? Like say before getting to that instance, like, okay, you know what? I think I'm starting to feel like I'm not enjoying regular activities as much as before. This might mean nothing or might mean something, right? Before like switching off, like Brandon was saying, to the point of like, this author is mentioning, I feel nothing, I feel numbed. But before that, it's not that happens from one day to the other. You already start to feel like decreased pleasure in activities that keeps happening and happening and happening, and you just like shut it off, don't pay attention to that. But the body and the mind start giving signals. When you feel that, oh, okay, like I used to love this, and now like I like it, it's fine, or like whatever. And to the point that like I cannot even do it. Like in the previous step, okay, you know what, I might be high in cortisol, my dopamine might be crashing. What I should do is this next week or this next 2 weeks, I'm going to focus more in meeting with my friends, on going like what things give me pleasure in a healthy manner, not in an addictive manner. Okay, meeting with friends, going for a walk, meeting with family, going to the gym. What daily activities I enjoy that I know that are healthy for me? Meditating, mindfulness, right? And if we don't know, like seek for help. Of course, professional help, especially if you're in this point, right? Because the brain, when it's inflamed, the cognitive functions decline. So he might not be able to find solutions right now that could be easy for him to get solutions in a previous state. And right now he might feel so overwhelmed that cannot find even the simplest solutions. So it's good to seek for help at this moment.
And like Daniel was saying about the gratitude, and in a wild post that you know, when you're overloaded with stress and your body shuts down, you know, emotionally, your energy, it's harder to pick out and notice things to be grateful for, you know, things that did go well, because everything's just shut down. You don't feel anything at all. So it's not even that negative will come, nothing will. And so that makes it hard to get yourself out of that space, because it requires great intentionality to practice gratitude, like telling yourself, okay, I'm going to think of 5 things at the end of the day today that went well, or 5 things that happened that I'm proud of myself for doing, right? But you don't feel like doing that when your body shut down. You do it anyways, but very hard. A lot of my clients, I try to explain that to them, that the practice, you're not going to feel like it. It's not always going to be like, you know, you're in some Zen moment and you're at peace and like, oh, let me just think of all the things I'm grateful for. No, sometimes it's like, I'm freaking tired. I don't want to do anything. I'm shut down. You know, I feel absolutely numb to life, but you still do it anyways. That's what gets you out of it. Even when you're like that, you do it anyways. You keep practicing.
Yes. I want to emphasize, right, this. If you don't feel like doing it, if you're overwhelmed, or if you have no energy to thinking one positive thing and all your brain is just in catastrophic mode, seek help. So I know it's something silly and you're like, how am I not going to be able to do it by myself? Well, in this moment, just think of you like if you were sick, just acknowledge it. Like, it's like if I had a flu or something, I need someone that helps me. I need an accountable body. I need a coach. I need a professional of any kind that helps me to navigate through this till I move on.
Yeah. And what I even then also created, because I also had similar experience with different clients and so on, like sometimes mentally they're maybe too far away from a positive state to try to think about these things. So I invented that in order to address that, that you can start with unpleasant gratefulness. So there's pleasant gratefulness and unpleasant gratefulness. Unpleasant gratefulness is a form of gratefulness that's often driven by fear. Hold on. Something that did not happen to me, and it's not in my life or didn't have to do that is in my life. So, for example, that could be like stuff like,
Like an
okay,
external
well,
circumstance.
yeah, or like, well, I don't have the mafia after me who wants to end my life. I don't have any phobias. I'm not
Oh,
homeless. I'm not in
okay.
Gaza and get
Okay.
bombed. You
So
know, I don't have any
That's
extreme
true.
pains. I haven't lost my voice. I don't
I
have any
see. Okay.
handicaps. I'm not dead.
I
Stuff
don't
like
have
that.
cancer. Right. I haven't died. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So unpleasant gratefulness. So start
Mhm.
there. If it's a little bit, yeah, oh, that hippie thing is too positive, man. I'm not really up for that. Sure. Then just start with that. Or like, I have different variation of it, you know. But then I started to
Yeah.
build this because I could see that, okay, that's more doable. And then people can slowly shift over to
It's a good
pleasant
start.
gratefulness.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
opposite, right? So this is a form of gratefulness that is often driven by joy and happiness. I'm grateful for something that did happen to me and
Yeah.
is in my life.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
The absence of
I love it.
negativity is a
I'm
good
taking so
one.
many tips from you. I'm stealing so much from you today. Crazy.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
You're welcome.
No,
We should
because
probably
you're
also
right.
steal.
Like when
No.
you're in
we-
that catastrophic mood, like being
Yeah.
grateful for certain things, it might not even be possible, but you can be realistic. Okay,
Right.
I'm not grateful of coffee because I'm not even feeling the flavor. But yes, I have to acknowledge that even though I feel this is a whole catastrophic moment, or my life is a in a catastrophic state, I'm not blind. I can see, I can hear. Yeah. Okay, I cannot
Right.
taste right now because I don't
Yeah.
feel taste, but I have to acknowledge I still see. So match it with
Yeah.
reality. No, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do like Johnny Chaos.
I
Every
like that.
morning I try to imagine 5 impossible things. He wrote that in the comment to this live stream. Well, thank you, Johnny Chaos. Imagine 5 impossible things. That's definitely an alternative.
Oh, I don't know about that. Can you explain me?
Yeah, you
What
can
does it
just
mean?
see the YouTube video that we are making live, and then we can see people actually writing stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, it was just to share some
Yeah.
alternatives because that's the thing. Sometimes we also need to break it down to a practical level that is a little bit closer for them to maybe think,
Mhm.
okay, I guess I could do that. Well, I mean, if it's only that, I guess I could try. Oh, it's an Alice in Wonderland quote. I didn't know that. Johnny Chaos wrote this.
Yeah.
Every morning I try to imagine 5 impossible things.
Yeah. I think that's a good that's a good the absence of negative is better than having nothing to be grateful for. Like you said, it's a good start. I also think it's a great I try to tell people that when they're trying to make a change in life, do something that they've never done before,
Mhm.
have growth they've never had before, that oftentimes you start with what do you not want to do? You know, what is the negative thing that you don't want in your life? And you can build from there. And you can, as you live life and gain experience, see like here's what is important to me. Here's what does really make a difference to me. You know, here's what I really want to invest my time and energy into. But sometimes at the start it's just I don't want this, I don't want this. So, yeah, I'm grateful that I don't have cancer. There's no bombs, you know. We're on a spinning rock in the middle of space and a meteor has not crushed us and blown the whole thing up. Um, those are good starts. I like that.
Such a
Yeah,
pleasure
super.
speaking with you guys. Love this. So glad.
I know you
Likewise.
got. I know
This
you
is
guys
like
are.
rising my good, healthy dopamine. So, thank you.
Yes. All right. Well,
Welcome. Do we have more time left, or
we've
are we good?
gone over an hour. Is there anything you wanted to add, Daniel?
I feel like that the time always goes so fast, and there's just so much to say and cover. But I mean, yeah, sure, we
Yeah.
have something for future episodes, so it's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to maybe add that, yeah, again, even though it sounds counterintuitive, start negative gratitude practice before you can do the positive, and then slowly mix it up, and then you can slowly shift, and it will actually do something for you. Because that's the thing, like if you're not doing anything, you're sure not really going to not get any changes that you maybe really want to.
Mhm.
So start small.
Yeah.
Like it has to sort of like be like that your thoughts kind of is like, is it just that? Or I guess I could
Yeah.
try that. Yeah, that wouldn't take that much long time. I mean, for example,
Mhm.
just to add a side note to this, I've been doing this for, well, I don't know, at least maybe 3 or 4 years every evening, but as a mental exercise. Some people like to journal stuff. I know
Mhm.
if I'm really tired, it's not going to happen tonight. But I can always think just before I'm actually going to sleep,
Yeah.
what was like 3 or 5 things that actually happened today? And then I kind of move throughout the day, and sometimes it's very small things, but everything counts. And it's a
Mhm.
great way to make your brain will actually start to notice these things, even though how small they may be.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it will start to pick it up, and yeah, then it gets easier. So it's okay. Be patient with yourself. It's okay. It takes time, but it's
Yeah.
actually worth it. Because how absurd is it that you kind of could make some numbers dictate how your mood should be for the entire day?
Right.
That's insane, you know?
Yeah. I know it is, and we are insane. I think that we're like bipolar insane in crypto here.
Yeah, you kind of have to be to some degree, I guess.
You
Yeah.
have to have a little something off with you to do this, and, it's a very fine line in how far off you are. 'Cause if you cross a certain line, you're too far off. Uh, but if you
Well, there
don't
are
get
You
to a
certain
never
certain
see the
line,
personality
line.
traits
then
related
you
to.
avoid all the risk if you don't go too far, so, uh,
Right.
yeah. I think
Or you
too
go to
the,
Alice in Wonderland.
for me too, the, being like, being a Catholic Christian, that a lot of times that comes for me and maybe some other people watching, in, when I'm, praying or I'm doing some, Catholicism, there's a lot of ritual prayers there where embedded is being thankful for things. But, yeah, just noticing, like, praying and saying thank you for could be basic stuff. It can be the absence of bad things. It could be because of positive things that have happened. But I find that to be very helpful, um, for me, and, I think that is just as good, as of a practice as just coming up with things that you're thankful for, every day in life before you go to bed. Um, so yeah, that's,
Or in the morning.
in the morning. Yeah. Yeah. I think this, Daniel, may be a good thing to expand on in a certain conference that may be coming up soon.
We could do that. Yeah.
I think so, because I'm having some other ideas too about this. Um,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Well, I forgot to like introduce you all in the beginning more formally. Sometimes I like to do that. Um,
What is the third stream?
yeah. What's that?
It's the third stream, man. So kind of like we already did it the first two.
Hopefully everyone knows. I know Daniel is a psychomotor therapist,
Yes.
and then okay, Danielle, I messed up. I forgot your official title.
A psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist.
Mhm.
So we need to send all our prescriptions to Daniela. I would like to
No, you can use supplementation
refill
actually.
my benzodiazepine bottles for
Let
Daniela.
me- I'm going to add something. Ashwagandha has proven to be very effective to decrease cortisol levels in blood.
What's
Like if
that
you
again?
want to ashwagandha, if you want to talk about or
Ashwagandha.
thinking like
Ashwagandha.
options
Okay.
besides
Mhm.
like regular psychiatric medication, because the regular psychiatric medication is usually used for short term, except antidepressants.
That's like
But
a
there is there is a
mushroom
bunch of,
extract, right? Ashwagandha?
yeah, it's I'm not very familiarized yet with ashwagandha. I did take it for some time, but for a different purpose.
Ashwagandha.
ashwagandha, melatonin, magnesium, ashwagandha and magnesium
It
for
sounds like
helping
a country
decreasing the
in Africa.
cortisol levels in blood. But it's kind of like you can attack or work on burnout from different points of view. Ashwagandha, like
Yeah.
a supplementation alone is not gonna be effective, or it's like you need like the like we were talking about, like right now he might need like a break or like really focusing in the work-life balance situation plus supplementation. I would say, in my humble opinion, number one, the way he's feeling right now, I will tell him, get a coach or a professional to help you, not even an accountable body, someone that knows what you're going through, because he's like, right now he's very catastrophic, his thought process. So I think someone that put him back in reality, right? Because but yeah, we can like mindfulness, yoga, going for a walk, everything that a combination of self-care and working in boundaries. Like sometimes people that has like fluid boundaries, or like they are people pleasers, they also need to work in their boundaries. And it seems in this case maybe he needs to work in his boundaries, because he says that people can like sucks his energy. Maybe people is just doing what they always do, but maybe he's like a giver and he's not working in setting proper boundaries. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, so it's also like a self-regulating thing, like start to train that as well, and there's some awareness about that that can overlap.
We'll have to see in his case what is like the most fundamental things to work on, right?
Yeah.
So that.
Also, too, he mentioned Frodo and Middle Earth, and Frodo can't return to his former life, but we don't know that Frodo didn't go to a much better life than his former life when he was, leaving Middle Earth. It could have been a much better place for him. He could have had a much better existence. We don't know. So that would be my encouragement, is it may be unknown what is ahead, but it may be better than what is here now or what has been. So I think that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Plus that, even though the example can sound a little bit negative, but like in this case with Frodo and Lord of the Rings, like it ends good, they succeed in their endeavors. And that's the whole thing, right? In crypto, people hope that this will have a good ending. So I mean, even though there is a lot of things in his post that maybe speaks of not so much hope left. Well, Lord of the Rings, a lot of the things that actually happens in Lord of the Rings is actually just one big journey of trying to play with the hope and still persisting and trying. And even though they have little and are not really look like great majestic creatures, they're still trying to push through, and then eventually it pays off. So I feel like that as a symbolically, Lord of the Rings is actually a really good free movies to watch, just to look at like human behavior and like psychology of like because I remember one said like that philosophically you can actually see the ring has the ego and the personal need of materialism and stuff that you really want. The ego wants to gather through life, and that can be a pain on its own, to trying to like, if that takes over, it becomes a dominant factor in your life, you end up suffering more than you actually enjoying it without knowing it, maybe. So you could to some degree argue that that's actually what he actually symbolically releases and letting go of, is that ego, compared to Smeagol, Gollum. He eventually gets the ring, but he gets consumed by it in the end, in the lava, But he gets what he wants, at least what he thinks he wanted, all this time, all along.
Exactly.
But he was a normal human being before.
Yeah.
He just slowly changed into Gollum because he let himself consumed by this.
He got drunk
So
on the dopamine hits
yeah,
of the ring. Yes.
yeah.
Well,
You
they
can
did.
kinda
They
see
did.
that.
You know, they did in the end avoid one big negative, which is a positive. So
Yeah.
they destroyed the ring. They threw it in the fire, and that was that. That was they avoided. And to bring it all back, you know, now if we're going to do the Lord of the Rings metaphor, we are all here involved in Pulse Chain, which is the one blockchain to rule them all. And we have PulseX, which is the one DEX to rule them all. And we have X, which is the one store of value to rule them all. I see what I did there?
Yeah, it was nice.
Love it.
All right. So let's see here. So Daniela, we can find you at Daniela3619 and anywhere else you want to mention?
No, for now. I'm focusing on X right now.
You give us your psychiatrist office address so we can get our scripts from you. Oh, okay. And at Joyful Danish, you have a podcaster and a YouTube, I believe, right?
Yes, trying to build that up as well. So yeah, the same word, Joyful Danish, one word, or just simply joyfuldanish.com if you want to see the website. But yeah, the podcast is Joyful Danish and YouTube, X, Instagram, everywhere. Yeah.
Very good. And I am at FreeBrandon7, and that is also the YouTube channel. And if you like this content, you can donate at freebrandon.pls. And this has been very, very good, guys. This has been an enjoyable one for me. So I will go to sleep tonight being thankful for this live stream. That's what I will be doing. All right. So we will, I think we're going to try to do this maybe every other week or so. Is that right? Is that what we figured out?
Bi-weekly for now.
Okay. All right. So we will be doing that, and we will be sending positive energy to Mr. the Greek God 11 and prayers toward him, and to not give up hope in your life. Okay, my friend? And that's it. We'll see you guys next time. Have a lovely, lovely day and weekend. Bye, everyone.
Bye, people.
Take care. Stay human.
Stay human.